Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got to look at the first ever premium aircraft carrier in World of Warships Legends, Japanese carrier Zuiho, Tier 5. Iona, if you don't have it, well, take a look at this. Mr. Jamfree. His membership happened to be renewing just as we hit the snap button on that screenshot. Appreciate the continued support. Here we got a game on the map. Domination mode game, of course. Speaking of supporting the channel, you guys have been doing an outstanding job. We're almost to the 20,000 subscriber mark. We've been hunting this for a little while now. Now, conceivably, considering about 40%, 50% of the people that view the videos typically aren't subscribed, we could probably hit it today if you guys just kind of slap that like button around, like we're going to be slapping around the red team. If you do choose to subscribe, I'd definitely appreciate it. We're going to have giveaways. We got giveaways lined up. We're talking premium ships, probably tiers 4s, 5s, 6s, potentially some other cool prizes as well. So we're going to be getting all that going here as soon as we hit that 20,000 mark. Zuiho, what's going on with this thing here? We'll go over the stats briefly. Now, usually I would be hunting the destroyer, especially in a one destroyer game here. But I'm thinking, okay, if he goes into B, we'll know because he's going to capture. I can attack the destroyer, of course, but if nobody's able to shoot into B, then it's just me trying to kill a destroyer with a carrier, which is not the easiest thing to do. I figure if he goes to A, well, hopefully those guys will deal with him. And if he goes to C, well, we got a lot of ships over here that we're spotting over here. We'll see what we can do. If we got teammates back here that'll shoot them, great. Getting into the stats of the Zuiho, though, comparing it primarily to the Ryujo, that ship, I don't have detailed stats on my carriers. I really just write down the plane stats so far, but I did briefly take a look at it. The AA is better on the stock, on the tech tree. Ryujo, or whatever his name is. The concealment's better on that one. And basically, I think the planes are mostly better on that one. We got a little bit better HP on these planes here. And the detection on the planes much better. I got 6.5 compared to 7 on the torp bombers, but both sets of planes get good detection. So, based on the build, you either kind of pick either the torp bombers or the dive bombers get the better detection if you use those perks. On this one, both of them get pretty good detection. So I got 7-kilometer detection on the HE bombers and 10 on the Ryujo. So that's the main advantage here. Speed-wise, this is actually slower than the Americans. We're going 137 is the max speed, it says here on the torp bombers at least. Compare that to the Ryujo. What's that one? 152. So we're talking 15 knots slower there. Same idea, 17 knots slower actually on the HE bombers. So, I mean, these planes feel pretty slow. And I've actually had, we start these torp runs and then you kind of almost run out of time sometimes. Luckily, we got a flood here. And we're attacking the Gneiss now. It's a dangerous ship. We'll talk more about this game as we get into it. But I figure this Gneiss now could potentially wreck this whole flank if he pushes in here aggressively. So I'm trying to butter him up. We're doing a pretty good job on him here. We got the flood to stick on him so far. But other than that, getting back to the stats, really the Ryujo's got better. I mean, most of the stats are the same in the plane. Same damage, same torp speed, same units and per squad and all that stuff. But the speed much better on the Ryujo. HP much better on the Zuiho. About 300, give or take, more HP per plane. So that's kind of the trade-off there. Whether or not that's worth getting the premium for you or not, it just depends on your personal preference. I mean, me personally, I don't play a lot of Tier 5 carriers. Really, the only carriers I ever play usually would be in Tier 7. The Tier 5s kind of seem slow to me anyways. I was playing the Ryujo a couple games here just to get a feel for that ship. And here he's letting us screw off on the beach, so we're going to go ahead and try and sink him as quick as we can here. Don't have to re-attack this ship because he's got 2 floods at this point in time. But I'm like, let's just get him off. We want to make sure he doesn't get one more salvo off or something like that. And we're right by him anyway, so we're going to attack him. But Ryujo, Zuiho, I don't know. I'm not in love with either of them. But, why would you want this? I mean, you get the premium credit bonus. So if you're Mr. Carrier, you like flying the planes a lot, this could be a decent option if you like the Japanese carriers. Okay, if you're not a huge fan of them, this one isn't sending a huge thrill up my leg, but very, very rarely would a carrier do that for me. So we actually got massive damage here. This is more damage than I would get in a lot of my Tier 5 carrier games. already, but we got the, I think we got, was that a Witherer? Or, yeah, we did some damage to that Ghanai's now. So he's probably not too happy. He's probably ticked off about the carriers. Take a look at this here. I want to point this out. Okay, the York is the one on the cap. He's the cruiser, easier to kill. He's got less HP, right? So there's 3 factors that point to attacking the York. That's who I'm attacking. That's who one of the guys is attacking. All 3 of these ships are shooting separate targets. Guys, zoom out once in a while, put the binoculars down, see what's going on, look at who your teammates are shooting at, and see which ships have the lowest HP, which ships are actually strategically important. Again, this one is trying to capture C, which would be a problem for us. But everyone's shooting their own battleship. I'm Atlanta. I'm trying to burn down a Nelson. Do you know anything about the Nelson, Mr. Atlanta? You can reprint the ship 1,000 times. So I'm a little perplexed at the shot selection over here when I'm playing this game, but nonetheless, we power through it. And you can see we're getting a lot of background damage here from the fires and the flood. So again, I've played probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 games in this so far, and this is, like I said earlier, by far the most damage I've gotten in this one so far. Not huge barn burner games usually, but you can have some strategic importance with the carriers, of course. So here we're trying to close in on the York, trying to get as close as possible. With these HE bombers, if you can hold your planes, let them get as close to those ships as possible. That'll increase the accuracy. There's no bonus for dropping the HE bombs from high altitudes. When we've been playing the German carriers, of course, you want to drop those as high as possible. These ones, though, the HE bombers that we have on the Japanese and the Americans, try and practice where you need to initiate the attack so that you'll be able to really hold on to the bombs as long as possible. Get in there close, get the damage, get those fires set. So again, the York is bleeding out. He's still attempting to capture the base. I'm like, I don't feel like I need to shoot the York to kill him necessarily, but cruisers are hard to kill with fires, and he is continuing to capture the base. So once again, we're going to target this guy. I'm really not that impressed with what's going on in this flank over here, to be honest with you, at least at this point in time in the game. Cruisers, how far do we want to lead them with the torps? Well, I usually go for about a full length if it looks like they're going roughly full speed. And here we did auto maneuver our ship into B or close, if you noticed a few moments ago. And now we're actually manually steering this in here. Number one, you saw the shot come in from presumably the Nelson, and that carrier player on the red team, he can spot us basically at random. So I'm actually thinking about going left here and just parking right by the island, but I'm worried about him achieving access to that gap on the east of B. So I'm just kind of moving over here. We want to get on the cap, because of course we got A, they're attacking C. If we can get the 2 caps, that's going to really help seal this game up, presumably. So I'm moving in there. Just going to park it right here, because you can see the majority of the team blocks. So even if we do get spotted, currently they're not going to be able to attack us. Now, here you can say, well, what's up with your target selection? We saw the low King George. There's something behind him. And then the Nelson. What am I going to do to a Nelson, you might be saying to yourself? That's a good question. But how do I get to the King George? I got to sail over the Nelson, and then, we'll be getting shot at by 3 ships. Or I got to go all the way around. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's try and get the reset on this guy. Let's see if we can stick him with some sort of flood here or something and see what sort of damage we can get on him. So that's why we're choosing the Nelson. I would much rather kill the King George if I was in a surface ship. That's who I'd be attacking. But due to the fact that we actually have to move into the vicinity of the targets, well, that's why we're picking the Nelson here. We do get him with the flood here. We do get 1 reset on him. And looks like the flood is stuck at this point in time. So presumably is in between damage cons. Usually there's no reason to hold off damage conning the flood, unless perhaps he's expecting follow-up torps, but I'm not really under the impression that that's very likely. If I get hit with a flood, I almost always just instinctively damage con it. I'm getting a little nervous here because he is coming around the bend. We do have a couple ships in the cap here. One of them's broadside. That's not necessarily what you want to be doing. And then the destroyer, which can be one shot with a Nelson very easily. So I'm very cognizant of what's going on here. Nelson doesn't look like he's coming this way anymore, though. And you can see they're down to these 3 battleships, and the carrier is actually spotted right now. I could drop a plane right here. The planes, you usually want to be putting them in the line of the enemy carriers planes, because the fighters that you drop will actually attack those. There's the Wither I thought we got earlier. I guess it was a Liquidator earlier. And again, we're holding the shots here. But usually I'd be dropping the planes to counter the enemy carriers. But if you put them out of range of these ships, they can just act kind of like a permanent spotter as well. Because a lot of the guys on my team are probably looking to utilize island cover. And that's just extra spotting when I'm in between flights. You can see we're really low on planes here, which is becoming an issue here. But we're definitely moving away from the action. Now, once this Nelson's kind of dealt with, then perhaps we should probably get back into it. We don't want to get too far from the action here. But keep in mind, we got A, we got B. Currently, well, we're actually tied on ships now. A moment ago, we had the ship lead, but you can see they're actually keeping up with that, with this team in that regard. So, you know, we definitely do need to be making sure we don't get shot here. Because once again, when we're this close to the action, the carrier can just spot us on demand. And if they got lines of sight to us, then we're in trouble. Trying to get over this island here to drop, and you got to really go as far away from the island as you possibly can, because sometimes you just drop the torps right on the island. Dodge is there. Nothing we can do about this, and oh my god, that destroyer being that close to Nelson's making me really nervous. But we turn around and get the... oh, he got him with the suicide rush there, the Fubuki, so good job there. We immediately turn off, trying to get these torps down. You can see if we can get that carrier in the green zone, at least we got a shot at hitting them. But if we launched it, it would probably randomly go some wild direction, miss, but whatever. Now we're like, okay, well, might as well just re-drop on this King George here. He's low, trying to hold on here. And usually when I'm doing these torp drops, I'm holding back on the left joystick, trying to slow it down. That's how you tighten that cone up. But once again, you do have to keep an eye on the how much time you have left on the attack, because these planes go pretty slow. Sometimes you'll overshoot it. Doing pretty good, though. We're up to 119K, 120,000, 666. Ooh. So that's, you know, for me, I'm not a flyboy by nature, but this is a pretty decent damage game for Tier 5. You know, you can criticize the game by saying we didn't go for the destroyer off the bat, but our team did deal with them, and I explained my reasoning off the top. I was really just kind of scared of the guys now on behalf of our team, because they're all kind of clumped up there. Fubuki, what you doing, man? You had no HP and you decided to open fire on the battleship. Okay, well, he's dead. So now that's making it a little bit more interesting here. Now we definitely want to get this King George off the board, because if they start to kill our ships, well, all of a sudden, you know, anything can happen. But because we got the control of the caps, we should be in pretty good shape here. We're continuing to sail away from this. Now, at this point in time, I think, or soon, I'm going to actually turn the carrier around, because trying to get a little bit more damage. The guy's just kind of committing to sailing over here. He's not being that aggressive towards the cap, so he's not likely to either spot me or even be in range at this point. So we should probably already have turned around. You'd want to be as close as you safely can in the carrier. That's kind of how it works. If you're too far, then it takes your planes a long time to get back, which prevents you from accessing them. And it takes the planes a long time to actually get on the scene, obviously. So it's kind of a fine balancing act that you always got to be paying attention to. And once again, I'm watching this back. We should have already turned around again. But anyway, this Zuiho, this should give you kind of an idea with it. Again, my main gripe with it is the planes are so slow. I don't have my Tier 3 carrier stats written down because I really don't care about them. But in terms of the Tier 5, Tier 7 carriers, these are by far the slowest planes that I've recorded. So that's kind of the scoop. Concealment of the planes is nice. Okay, you can get pretty close to the targets before you're being detected, but frankly, I'd rather have faster planes that get spotted a little bit earlier. I mean, I'm not a pro carrier mind in terms of which is better, plane concealment or speed. It just intuitively, for me, it's a little bit nicer to get the planes on target as quickly as possible. So that's my thoughts. I don't know if I got to test drive this for 5 games and then I had to decide, do you want to buy it or not, I'd probably skip it. But like I say, if you're a carrier, a carrier is your main thing, you know, and you're definitely probably in the market for a premium at this point in time because we don't have any yet, that could be a good option. So ask yourself, do you like the Japanese carriers or not? Do you like the Japanese Tier 5? It's similar overall, but with the tweaks that we mentioned earlier. Coming in as quick as we can here. We want to steal this Fuso's kill from the guy who's been fighting him the whole time. Shots in there, and he doesn't sink him, and we go ahead and steal and get the high cal at the same time. So that's going to do it for the Zuiho, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see you later. Peace.